Is Mike Woodson leaving too soon? Indiana with the 66-60 victory over Ohio State. That's what he went to the mic and said post game. Maybe he's leaving too soon. Hoosiers have won 5 of their last 7 games. Feeling pretty good about the tournament chances. Why we got the fours up?
Four tourney appearances for Woody.
It's three, right? This would be
Oh,
3 in 4 years.
three and four, 3 and 4, three tourney appearances in 4 years for Woody.
I saw somebody was standing for him online. It's like, well, keep in mind that Indiana's made 4 Sweet 16 since the 90s or whatever, and it's like that should not be the goal.
This is all I'm saying, Ralph. This is all I'm saying. The coach y'all are caping for has like three tourney appearances in 15 years. My dog Woody went and got 3 and 4.
Are we talking about Mark Pope?
Brownwell.
Brownell? Hey, I'm
Or
not for
Brownell,
I'm
my
not
bad. Brownell.
not standing Brownell. I think Brownell's a very solid coach.
3 and 4. Brownell, the guy they might hire has three tourney appearances in 15 years. They're gonna fire the guy that has 3 and 4.
I'm glad that a coach with at a top 5, top 10 job in the country can get to the round of 64. Proud of him. Proud of him. Anyway, let's talk about the Hoosiers because they are going back to the tournament more than likely, barring something that's a huge surprise. This win, I think, helped it. We talked about this being a bubble battle, potentially a elimination game of sorts. And Indiana closed the game strong. They were behind for most of the game, trailed by double digits in the second half, came back and really took hold of this one down the stretch of the fourth quarter. How are they able to get it done?
Well, it definitely wasn't based upon shooting. 10 turnovers from Ohio State will help, I guess, but at the same time, Indiana had nine. Um, this team's playing really good defense. I mean, they shot 35% from the field, 25% from the 3 point line, 35% from the field. Winning a game when you shoot 5 of 20 from three in the year 2025 is absolutely insane. Phenomenal job by them, though. I mean, they slowed down the Buckeyes, the ones they needed to. Bruce Thornton was 2 of 10. John Mobley Jr. 3 of 11. Devin Royal was efficient, but 5 of 11. Like if that's the most efficient player within your big three, that's tough. I mean, Micah Parrish was 6 of 11, but all in all, they were able to slow down the big guns from Ohio State. Ohio State did a good job slowing Indiana down too, but the others for Indiana were just a little bit better than the others for Ohio State, in my opinion. I don't know if calling Malik Renew as an other is crazy or not, but at this point, he kind of is. He's the other two, Umar Ballo, Trey Galloway is a bit of an other as well, 16 points from each. So I feel like defense and timely scoring got Indiana this game. Um, they have things figured out defensively. I really, really like the lineup without Miles Rice. If they can find a way to get some of the offensive production Miles Rice brought to the table from some of the other players, I actually think this team could make a run. And legitimately, I do not believe Woody's leaving too early. Don't get me wrong. I also don't, Woody, by the way, I'm not sure it's your choice to be deciding that you're leaving too early either, for what it's worth. Based upon the most recent coaching list, maybe one more year, and then like let's reset. Maybe
I
one more.
I think Indiana will be fine. Uh, Trey Galloway and Malik Renew were, I think, the two best players on the court in this game. You could argue maybe two of the three. If you want to throw Micah Parrish in there, I'll hear that argument. But the fact that that's the conversation, we're not talking about Bruce Thornton at all,
Right.
is why this game ended up the way that it did. I think you could argue Ohio State did not win this game as much as Indiana won this game. Not that Ohio State lost it, because that would mean that they had something to give away, but this was a bad Buckeyes game. And Indiana deserves credit for it defensively, as you brought up. Anytime you can hold somebody to 0.94 points per possession, it's a great job. Like we're not going to do any negative remarks there. But Bruce Thornton wasn't creating, wasn't doing the things he normally does, isn't able to do. We talked about Ohio State's weak front court. Sean Stewart and Eric Bradshaw were both non-existent. Sean Stewart fouled out in 22 minutes. Bradshaw only got 15. Like they did not meet the challenge in this game. It showed on the glass. Indiana had the rebounding advantage that we thought they should, but wouldn't always follow through on. Like to me, this was a matchup between two bubble teams that looked like bubble teams, but Indiana had the guys step up. Had Trey Galloway step up, Renew step up. Luke Goody get to the line 10 times. Like that's a big deal. Um, I'm still not like thrilled about Indiana. I'm not leaving this game feeling more confident in their chances when they get to the tournament, but they're going to be there, which is very telling considering where this program was a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, I a month ago, like man, 2 weeks ago. Honestly, I mean, 2 months ago, I legitimately thought a lot of these dudes were going to quit playing basketball before they make a tournament again.
Hmm.
Like I thought it was over. I thought Umar Battle was like, "Hey, I already got paid, y'all. Y'all have fun." Um, and Woody, I mean, it seemed like it felt more likely Woody wasn't going to finish the season after post announcement. Like I was like, well, if they lose a
Yeah.
couple more, maybe Woody's like, I just don't want to keep doing it. Like, it's a complete turnaround. It really genuinely started with that Purdue game for me, where it's like this is a noticeably different team.
Yeah.
Um, and they've really been able to keep it going. So I mean, we'll see what happens in the tournament. There's the part of me that still has a place in my heart for this team that I picked to go to the Final Four preseason, and I am wrong, obviously,
Could you
but
imagine?
I would love to be right while being wrong. Like I would love to just be dead wrong about a team, and then I'm still somehow right. Like that would be phenomenal.
Where does Ohio State go from here? Because they're 17 and 14 now, 9 and 11 in Big Ten play is how they finished the regular season. Um, we can have the big picture conversation. I know you guys will probably have a short about that on the channel or it'll be talked about in the podcast. So I won't do like the full deep dive, but just a quick synopsis on Ohio State's like outlook for both the Big Ten tournament and potentially the NCAA tournament. Like where do you see where they sit right now?
I don't think they're making the NCAA tourney. I think that's a lit. At the end of the day, like I love the Big Ten. I think I vouch for the Big Ten as much as anybody besides maybe G and Cart. Comparing them to the SEC a lot. Um, if you're a member of the committee, you have to swallow your pride and put Indiana in. That's
Oh
essentially
yeah.
like that's essentially what you're doing. I don't think you're going to do that for Ohio State. I don't think they've done enough to where you're like, let me eat this one and put them in. I think I'll be honest. I've compared them to the SEC. I would rather Oklahoma or Texas get in. If it comes down to like those three schools, two spots, I'd rather be Oklahoma and Texas than Ohio State at this point. So unless they go on a special Big Ten tournament run with the expansion of conferences, though, I don't think we're going to see those special tournament runs like we saw with NC State. I
Yeah.
think it makes it a lot harder because, I mean, you could, if you're NC State, for example, and I have no idea what that bracket looks like, to be honest, but like you could avoid Duke or North Carolina, for a little bit. Like maybe you have to play one in the semis, one in the finals, or maybe you avoid both altogether because an upset happens, right? It's really hard to avoid teams now. Like
Yeah.
it's you're not going to be able to avoid Michigan State. You're not going to be able to avoid Purdue, Illinois, Michigan. You're going to have to play some of them at some point. You're
Yeah.
probably going to have to play Indiana at some point. So I think I wouldn't I'm not I wouldn't imagine them going on a run in the Big Ten tournament. I definitely don't think they make the NCAA tourney. Um, what I honestly think their focus should be is that transfer portal. Get them bags ready, Diebler. You got to rebuild a whole team.
They need some bigs too.
Yeah.
The sell for Ohio State, like, yeah, you have 14 losses. You'll end with 15, barring the auto bid. So you have 15 losses, but you have a win over Kentucky. You have a win over Purdue. You have a win over Maryland, like three elite wins. You also beat Texas in the first game of the season. So if it
Mm-hmm.
like gets to that, you have the edge there. But if you're comparing them to Oklahoma, who I think is kind of like the top of this pile of bubble trash between the two big leagues, Oklahoma's got all that too, without
Mm-hmm.
the 15 losses that come along with it. So we'll see. Ohio State, I think, has to win multiple games in the Big
Mm-hmm.
Ten tournament. We'll see what happens and what happens there. We'll have previews and recaps for every Big Ten tournament game on the channel this week. Going to be a lot of content with Conference Tournament Week coming up. We're very, very excited. So make sure you like and subscribe.